Hey, Tony here. A lot of people say that Trump supporters say that if you have TDS, there was something wrong with you because how could you possibly hate Donald Trump? Well, I hated him from the get-go. Thought he was a braggart, ran his mouth a lot, arrogant. I didn't like him when he talked about grabbing women by the pussy. I didn't like him when he talked about how he owned Miss USA teen pageant, would sneak in the dressing room to watch them change clothes. I didn't like him the way he handled COVID, making Fauci look like the bad guy because he didn't like Fauci getting all the attention, saying we could inject bleach or somehow get light into our bodies. I could tell, when people with critical thinking could tell the man's an idiot. And then the lies. I mean, the constant lying, lie after lie, and smearing people. I mean, it's one thing to lie, it's another thing to lie and smear people to make yourself look better. It's just despicable. And then as we got towards the end of his terms, I didn't like a lot of his policy. I thought the economy was going to hell and the supply and demand chain with COVID was going to hell. And then how he just kept talking about the election was rigged way before the election was even held. Undermining our election process, really great. And the way he undermined the press, really great. I could tell we were in for a fascist dictator. And I hope to God we never had him again. But there he was on January 6th causing an insurrection. There he was with his fake elector scheme. There he was after the election, crying and whining about it. Lost 60 cases and still wouldn't shut up. There he was with documents that he took after he left the White House. And a lot of people do that. A lot of presidents do that. They make a mistake and they return it. Not him. He ignored it or returned a few. He kept ignoring the archives. Finally, they had to call the FBI. The FBI got a warrant and had to go get the stuff. And they found videos of him, of his guy, Walt Nato, walking around hiding all the boxes. I mean, they had him dead to right on that case. Dead to right. And they even had him saying, they're mine, they belong to me. He had a complete wrong idea on what the Presidential Records Act was. Completely clueless. And then we get 4 years of Biden, and all he does is trash Joe Biden. Trash, 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 trash. Joe Biden's a good man. Comes up with scandals that aren't even true. Comes up with scandals about Hunter Biden, a man who struggled with drugs. Just despicable human being. Oh, let's not forget the way he blackmailed Zelensky in his first term. Get me some information on Biden and I'll help you out. The man just despicable. And then all this stuff about Epstein comes out. During Trump's first term, he kept it sealed. He told his DOJ to seal it. And he had the Supreme Court seal it. So people say, why didn't he do it? When Biden became president, why didn't he open it up? Because Trump had his buddies seal the case. And then when Ghislaine Maxwell was being prosecuted, couldn't open up the case. And the way that his DOJ and the FBI are covering him up and the stuttering and the distractions that he causes, the man's guilty. I mean, where there's smoke, there's a pedophile. As simple as that. The horrible things he's done, taking away the subsidies for health care, Medicare, Medicaid, wanting to privatize Social Security, U.S. aid, killed thousands and thousands of poor children across the world, and our farmers depended on that income, put a lot of farmers out of business. The man's just a horrible person, and yet we must have TDS. And he continues to lie, and everything he does benefits himself and no one else. Oh, but we have some kind of syndrome. And then he divides the country, constantly going back to his first term, and now calling Democrats crazy animals and lunatics. He's been dividing people from the get-go. He's a projector. If he accuses you of being crooked, he's crooked. He called Crooked Joe. You're crooked, Trump. He called it the Biden crime family. What a joke when he had his whole family working for him in the White House. He's made billions of dollars as president. He's the most corrupt president we've ever seen. It's right out there in the open. Oh, but we have Trump derangement syndrome. No, we have critical thinking skills. And we know an asshole when we see one.